Hello, everybody. Thank you for waiting. I had a little bit of a tech issue as the tech goblins wanted to take my camera, but I got it going again. I just had to reboot a few things. Hi, welcome. I'm Little Red Dot. I'll be your host for today for another Kobold Chats, where we are talking all things Kobold Press. And right now, the hot to trot topic of conversation is our current Kickstarter, which has reached almost $170,000 and over 2,800 backers. And that Kickstarter is Campaign Builder Cities and Towns. Now, I bet you're asking me, what is this? What is this Campaign Builder Cities and Towns? Well, oh boy, I'm here to tell you. It is kind of the GM's best friend. It's a tool guide. I don't even want to call it a guide. It's a tool book. It's a tool book that you can use at the table while building cities on the spot or campaign planning long term to help you get kind of the nitty gritty and make them really rich and interesting for your players at the table, as well as the stories and campaigns that you are playing through. So over the past few weeks, I have had the great honor of sitting down with some of the writers from this book and looking at each of their sections, taking kind of a sneak peek at what information might be in them, because unlike a lot of our guides, this is actually a really hands-on book that has tables, things to roll, suggestions for how to directly use the information that would usually come to you in one of our guide essays. So we've actually been doing some of that. We've been rolling dice. We've been building this city. So I thought today, instead of bringing on another guest, we would go back, take a look at what we've built together, you, I, the audience, and everybody in between, and then actually put it together. Now, how does one package a city? That's hard. Everybody writes their notes differently, but I can tell you, thanks to all of you and for backing this Kickstarter and reaching our first stretch goal, we were able to put out the Campaign Builder Cities and Towns character sheet. That's right, a character sheet for your city. And I am here to tell all of you today, little bean spillage, I'm going to be showing it to you. Ooh, I know, I'm so excited. We're going to actually be looking at the PDF. Now, it isn't by no means like done. We are still in the middle of this Kickstarter. We're going to be having a lot more polishing going on, but I have at least a good start on what this character sheet is going to look like. And so I've gone through and I have made text boxes in the PDF document because it wasn't quite a workable document yet. It will be when it comes to all of you. So that we could like go in and fill in all the information based on the town we built together into this sheet and kind of see how that works. How does that function? How do I actually make a character sheet for a city and look at some of what you can be expecting if you have backed the Kickstarter. So, yeah, I dropped a link in chat. Go check it out. Actually, you know what? It's funny. I haven't checked to see where we are at since last night, I believe. Yeah. Oh, we've crossed the $170,000 mark. That's incredible. We are on our way to 3,000 backers. And we have crossed the $170,000 mark, which I believe we're like hot on the trails of reaching another stretch goal. I'm going to check this right now. Actually, I can share this with all of you. I have that power. I say that. This one. Yes. Okay. So, let's see here. Let me shrink this down a little bit so you can see more of the page. So, we are... Here we are. Wanted to take a look. So you have a lot of options here. You're going to get some extra, look, roll 20 folio maps and such. But I wanted to see, here we go, stretch goals. Here we go. That was our fillable character sheet. Yes. So we get all of this cool stuff. We reached one of that I was really looking forward to, which was the additional city NPCs, the rat catcher, the groom, the alchemist, and naming table. I think that's very, very cool. We're almost unlocking additional city monsters, which I think is super cool. That includes the sewer djinn, the lock mimic, and the alley sprite, all of which I'm very interested in learning more about. Like an alley sprite, that kind of sounds terrifying. Because, you know, sprites don't usually come in just like one. They're not a single. They're like a package deal. You get a whole bunch of them. And that's something you want to meet in an alley. Not something you want to meet in an alley. So, there you have it. So today, we're going to be taking the first stretch goal that we reached, which was this awesome fillable character sheet. And we're going to actually look at it. And let me see. I saw it, right? Yeah, okay, great. I did right there. we're going to be taking that character sheet and filling it in. So the thing I had to do first was actually pull up, oh no, roll 20. I didn't pull up roll 20. We need to pull up roll 20 and pop open our city and town's notes. Now, yeah, pledge made. Love that. Thanks. Thank you so much, Hawkeye. Okay, let me pop this open. Now, all I did to start taking our notes was basically open a Roll20 and start adding notes to it based on each of the many things that we rolled and or built. Now, we have had time going through our the last few weeks to include things like guilds, organizations. We had a really cool chance to talk about the taxes and the kind of financial structure, I guess you could say, of this place. We have aligned this cleric organization as kind of the ruling structure. They dictate, I guess you could say. I wouldn't call them government, but they do dictate because of something very special to this place, and which we'll get into. And then, thanks to Sebastian, we were able to kind of roll up, what does this place look like? What does it look like? And I have pulled a few things and resources for us today, all of which I'm going to share with you, none of which is a secret. But we're going to go from Roll20 basically in these notes that I made. So, for example, here's the order, right? Okay. This is what we know about them. So I just made a quick note. We're going to be taking this and putting it into the character sheets, which I'm going to show you right now. Boom. Ooh. Ah. Ooh. Ah, it's so shiny and new. Now, remember, I put really quick filler boxes into this because literally the sheet is complete, the design, but it is not form fillable in terms of what you are going to receive. You're going to get a much cleaner version of this. This is just me, like, throwing this together, but here we go. Ooh, ah, ooh. So there it is. There is this Balla Sheet. Now, there's lots of boxes and things to fill in, so I want to go through it a little bit, and then what we have to do is take everything we've created and figure out where it goes on this sheet, which I think is actually kind of one of the cool pieces and puzzles of how you lay this out and how you organize the information, because oftentimes we as GMs have all the ideas and none of the organization to make it usable for ourselves actually at the table. So this should hopefully help us overcome that. So we did a couple things, like name it, so forth and so on. So we called this place St. Costa because the fact of the matter was it is on a coastal region, right? It's on a coast. Specifically, I think we said a cliffside. I did actually find a map generator that I thought might be nice to fill in here for our map, but I wanted to show you and take a look because the actual geography and the climate of this region is specific because we did a roll which made it has this perpetual storm that's over the grasslands nearby. And so I went to a generator that I really, really like, that I use all the time, which uses itch.io basically. And I rolled up this map. There's a harbor here, which seems to match what we had talked about. The difference is that instead of being on a rock side, but I still think if we wanted to, we could make it a rocky kind of cliff, and this actually could go off into a waterfall type thing. So that could be very, very interesting. And these could be dams of some kinds or ways to break the waterfall for boats to turn around. I thought we could work with it, right? Because the size of the city seemed about right to me. It didn't seem like a very large city based on what we had discussed, but the real special part is this plains area out here, all these farms and these plains, because it was well known that there was a plains area where these storms are taking place. So I want to call this the Plains of Perpetual Storm because I like that name. It's perfect. So the plains. And I do actually kind of like the idea that maybe somebody, and this may be a new group or organization. Oh, thank you so much for that gift sub. I just saw that come through. And thank you for re-upping all of these subs. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, y'all are just hitting those sub buttons today. I love it. I love it. And enjoy your emotes because, spread more Kobold love. So I love this, the Plane of Perpetual Storm. But I like the idea that maybe there is somebody that can farm in the Plane of Perpetual Storm. The question is who? Who is it? So there you go. I started there. all of the labels we can change. So I wanted to start by labeling a few sections based on the guilds, because we had made it very clear that the guilds were important to this. And to the, oh, you know what? I wonder if this is the quarry. Instead, we could make this the quarry, because we did say that for whatever reason we have a masonry here, so we need a quarry. And I like the idea that maybe they have some kind of quarry just on the outskirts of town that feeds into the farms. Oh, thanks so much, Myra. I appreciate that. I'm glad you're here. Always glad to entertain. And, you know, it's kind of fun building things together online. I love doing this kind of thing. So, let's see. Okay, so this is Castle and Great Ferry. I don't know what Great Ferry means, and I don't know why there's a... Maybe that's the name of the town? That seems reasonable. I don't know that we need castle. What if I just get rid of this? This is probably a storehouse or granary of some kind. Oh, you know what? I bet it is. There's an order of clerics here, so this is probably like an abbey. We'll call this an abbey for now. I don't have a better word for it. This must be the name of the town, which stinks that they're going over each other. But you know what? I have it on my sheet. We don't need to name the town. We know what the name of the town is. I guess this could also just be, like, we could call it an abbey. We could also call it, like, the temple. Because it makes sense. This is a religious town, so, you know. We have a few more labels. I feel like this should be the guild district, right? Oops. Which is, yes, I spelled that right. Okay. Which has become important because we're actually going to label some of these districts. And then maybe, I feel like a lot of this out here is all residential. This might be the commercial district, right? Because we also have some shops and things that aren't really the guilds. Okay, perfect. Love it. Commercial district, the guild district, the quarry. I don't know what this would be out here, but I don't want to label it yet just in case we need a space for something. But my goal is to actually take this and pull it in and place it inside of this box right here for the map here in a second. We didn't really have a government type necessarily, and that's just because we didn't do government types as part of our deep dives of the last few weeks. But since this this group of clerics are kind of running everything, it seems to reason that maybe there's some kind of religious-based government. Let's see. I mean, a theocracy is a government by divine guidance, right? And officials who are guarded by kind of the divine. I think that's the one. That seems reasonable. We don't really have the rulers, or a single, I say that, we don't have a single ruler, but in here we did say that this order is really important, and that's the Order of the Platinum Torch. Okay, so I would say that they are the rulers if we had to have a ruler. I wish you would stop doing that. There we go. We don't have a symbol yet, but I do love the idea, which I'm guessing some of these things we haven't seen, like government type, the symbol piece here in the middle. That's going to be very important. I think it would be cool. I don't know if there's ways to like design in the game, suggestions for designing like crests or symbols for your town, but I love that idea. Oh, interesting. This is interesting. Because really, this is guided by the clerics, not by necessarily a certain ruling belief system. So maybe it really is. Yeah. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good call, chat. Good call. Thank you for your help on this. This is why we do this together. Now, what's interesting about the defenses is this was actually something we rolled up. Based on the geography, what do we know about this place? How safe is it? Is it safe at all? And I want to think we rolled scarce but defensible, because we're talking about the resources here of this place, because really the defenses are based on your resources. Do you have a lot of soldiers? Do you have a lot of money? Do you have a lot of walls? These things matter, and they're based on really your resources. So we rolled scarce but defensible. Resources in the area are sparse and hard earned. Cities found here require regular supply trains or trade to be sustainable, but the geography provides an ideal location to vend a choke or rally point. So I'm just going to copy for now, because we're doing the short version of this. Scarce but defensible. Welcome in. We're filling in our character sheet. Check it out. Now, we talked about trade good and resources. We haven't really... I'm going to guess, because this is a guild... You know what? That makes me want to change the map now. Because this is a guild-based city, I think we're going to change this to be trade district. Because as it's set up on our map, right, we have this river that runs through here. Now, this is set a harbor, but I still love that idea that maybe they're on a cliffside, because we did get like a coastline option, I believe. So I guess we could use either one. But I love that this is a trade district here along this river. I haven't decided. I almost want to make this area out here another option for the clerics, right? Like maybe this is like what they would consider Holy Land or something they protect. I'm not sure. Hey, doesn't that look pretty good? This is one of my favorite city generators. It's so great. Okay, so incorrect. So let's. Okay, yeah. So grasslands, we've got that. We've got some geography. It is oceanside with exposed fossils. So we didn't say it couldn't be in a harbor. We just know it's rocky, which I think works. So I love these exposed fossils. Maybe we'll learn more about that as we fill in today. All right, let me go back over to the PDF. So trades and goods, they've got to trade something. So I imagine we said that leather, blessed leather goods, right? We know that. And we know... that they're going to have to do some kind of masonry work. So we'll just say stone. I'm just going to say stone, because they may ship it finished or unfinished, but we have a quarry at least, right? Anything else that we would ship out? We didn't really say. Let's take a look. What other... Local shops... Hirelings, taxes, resources, Order of the Platinum Torch guilds. Oh, we have beer, because we have the maltsters. Oops. I'm just going to say, and malt/beer. I'm going to probably need to make that smaller. How do I do that? I don't know how to do it. Let's see. Hang on. I might be able to. Let me edit this PDF. No. Oh, no. Don't do it, Roll20. I mean, PDF. Okay, well, it's doing its thing. So, basically, what we have is... No. Yeah, how do I make it smaller, though? Fill in sign? I'm learning how to do this. I set them up, but I think I have to edit the actual box, not the... Hang on. I have to go to preparing it as a form. Okay. Let's see. Perfect. Yep. What have you got? Yes. Appearance. Look at that. Okay, figured it out. So, form field. I just want to make sure I got all of this right here. I'm going to go ahead and just make this smaller so that we can fit it. Left. Multi-line. Ha-ha! Scroll along, check spelling, allow rich text, limit of characters, position, appearance. Balla Balla. Think, oh, that's fine. That is fine. Do not change. Okay. Close. Now I should be able to just, I'm just going to give it some space. Okay. So, there you go. I bet you I can make it. Yeah, okay. So, we know that these are some of the things that they're going to carry in town. The climate we said was, well, it has this storm and grasslands, so I'm going to say it's probably pretty temperate. We didn't talk about what kind of storm, did we? Dry climate. We did decide. Okay, it is a dry climate. Let's close that. Dry climate. Current disasters. I'm going to put the perpetual storm again here, because that makes me think that's what it's hinting at, is like what's going on. And I'm going to put exposed fossils, because I wonder if the fossils are causing issues, right? If the fossils are having problems, then they're going to want to fix that, I guess you would say. Or do something about it. So it seems like a disaster in certain form, I guess. Okay. So, don't have our map quite yet, but we're close. We don't know any nearby settlements. Laws and punishment. Now. Yeah, I did make text boxes in advance, Crit Witch. I don't necessarily enjoy doing it either. You won't have to do this when the final sheet comes out. This is just Dot's quick and dirty version, because I was given a non-fillable PDF, basically. But I did it. So we'll make it work as we go along. So, laws, deities and temples. We do have one temple. We don't have a name for it yet. And we don't have I don't know about a deity, but we do have, I feel like it's important to note the temple and the fountain. Remember, the fountain is, okay. Oh, I know why. Okay, we'll do it. We'll just do a comma. We'll call it the Holy Fountain for now. Which is where all the water in town, the clean water in town, comes from. Laws and punishment. The only laws we kind of talked about were based in, let's see. Yes, was it in the magic? Magical fountain in the center of the district provides clean water and a strangely like meditative sound. Those who take a short rest in its immediate vicinity find themselves refreshed and ready to take on their task. It has an ever-burning torch. We said the fountains are maintained by the Order of the Platinum Torch. We haven't figured out the found fossils part yet, but we still like that idea. Ooh, the Fountain of Continual Blessing. Love it. Yes, and then there's the temple, of course, that's inside. So, right, I know why this is. I need to boop, boop, ba, doop, doop, multi-line. That's why. I wish I could apply it to all boxes, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and just do it for this one, too, while I'm here, because I know I'm going to need a multi-line. I also know that it's going to need to be way smaller, because we have a whole bunch of these. Whoop, close. Okay. Alright, so we've got the temple and the Fountain of Continual Blessing, which I think are both important. You know what? So we called them the Order of the Platinum Torch. So there seems to be something about water and healing, but also light, because there's a light that burns at the top of the fountain. And we had talked about it being like a lighthouse, remember? So I love this idea that maybe the temple lighthouse is what's at the center of town. Might be too far off, but I imagine it's not a terribly large town. Maybe it's a very large. So if the temple is actually the lighthouse, which I love that idea, by the way. right? Because like here's the fountain right here, perfect center of town, and then the lighthouse is nearby. Which I'll leave for now. Okay, cool. Love that idea. Well done, everybody. Well done. So let's see. Major guilds and organizations. So we have quite a few. So I think the best thing for me to do is to just start by listing them. So what do we have? We've got the Honorable Society. No, I'm sorry. The Honorable Association of Tinkerers. We've got the Honorable the Solemn Order of Maltsters and the Steadfast. Now, that's not all we've got because it wants it to be 2 words, but that's okay. It can be 1 word. I know it's 1 word. Don't lie to me. Let's see. And then last but certainly not least is our big order, which is the Order of the Platinum Torch. Okay. Now, this is where things start to get kind of cool. Because now we're going to take this. We don't have any law and punishment, but we did say, I feel like we decided there was it wasn't, was it a tax on the water? Welcome here in Air Sandwich. I feel like it was. Nope, here's our taxes. So we didn't really come up with any laws and punishments. Maybe I like the idea that they just banish you to the, like, if you do wrong, they banish you to the storm plains. We are taking a city that we've been creating over the last few weeks, and we're putting it into a usable PDF for the new Campaign Builder Cities and Town Cities character sheet. That's what we're up to. Yeah, I like this idea that they banish you to the storm plains. The storm plains are the plains nearby the city that we've been building. Whoops. I'm going to transition you over so you can see it. Here along the outskirts, called the Plain of Perpetual Storms. And it is under a current elemental like storm. Welcome in, Bishop. So glad that you're here and popping in. We're doing some really fun character city building actually today. Okay, so now all of which of the city we already have made was rolled up on kind of random tables that we have begun to merge together to make something that is usable. So we've rolled from the random tables from the new book. Do that for you. Okay, let's take a peep here. So I want to get into this district sections because I think this is really interesting. The way the character sheet is laid out, you have multiple sections for districts, and I'm going to have to add a name box here, I see. Now, we have designated 2 districts, the Guild District, the Trade District, and I feel like this Temple Lighthouse is a district in and itself, but we can get there because it's kind of their religious district or their spiritual district, but who knows, we might add some more. What's interesting is each district section has its own place for buildings, landmarks, and lodging. And then any kind of notable story hooks within these sections. So I think the first thing, I'm going to have to go add a quick box. Sorry, y'all. I got to add another one. You get to see the magic behind the mischief. Okay, so I think there's one. I'm going to go ahead and add another. And I'm sure there would be like a whole bunch of different districts, right? Because usually with docks, you would still have a dock district. In this case, that's connected to the guild and trade districts, which is kind of how we've laid out. Because remember, this is a much smaller town. We're going to get to that here in a second. Like, what is the population? Like, we're not looking at a very large place per se. Okay, so the first district we had down was the guild district. Oops. Close. Oh, I forgot to close this. That does not help me. No, no, no. It undid everything I did. No. Why? Oh, no. I pressed too many buttons, y'all. I'm gonna have to do it again. A lot of boxes on this sheet. Now, what would be kind of cool is if you knew in advance what your, like, many districts are, or the districts you regularly use when you build towns. You could come through here and make these drop boxes instead. That's really fancy stuff. Okay, now here we are. Okay, so first thing, first one is the guild district. And then it's going to be the trade district. Right? And we might have some more here in a second, but I want to fill in. Oh, I should have done those up here. I'm such a goober. Let me do that again. Now, I would note that these are different, right? These, oh, that's where they went. These are going to be different sections. One, because one is really commercialized shopping, right? The other is where the guild's, like, home bases are going to be, where their headquarters are, where probably housing for the guild families might even be. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that as well. So I feel like maybe this doesn't have, let's see, add to collection. Oops, no, back up. No, don't lose it. I wanted it. No, don't. It was so perfect. Oh, okay, it's the same. I just have to rename it. Okay. Well, I can do that. Whew. I feel like I should be able to let's see. I should be able to I can change the color set, so like I could change it, which I actually kind of like that better. So I'm just gonna quick redo this. This is gonna be the lighthouse, the temple lighthouse. We don't actually need the name of the city. Remember, we had that at the top. This is not that kind of map. This is our guild districts. And actually, this kind of works out nicely because the way this is built, there are 3 major sections. See how there are 3 kind of sections to this guild district? Each one could be given to a guild for its people, if that makes sense. This is the trade district. There we go. Oh, and we got another one here. This might become something else. The valleys. We haven't really added to that. Yeah, so Plane of Perpetual Storms, that stayed. And then there's something out here. We got to figure out maybe what that is. This actually could just be the gate, right? Because we talked about a southern gate, because people wouldn't really come in through this gate here. This actually could be the quarry. I actually like that better because it's near the kind of rock cliff edge. I like that as the quarry. Okay. So now we need to put, like, these notable buildings. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is start with the guild district. I'm going to need to, oops, that is incorrect. I'm going to need to go ahead and just alter this here. Okay. So, I wish I could. I wonder if I can select them all and edit all of them at one time. Let's find out. I sure can. I sure can. Look at me go. Look at me go. Options. Multi-line, check spelling, scroll long text. Close. Okay, we should be good to go across the board now. Okay. Okay, notable buildings. So let's do, and you know what? No, before I even move on, we said we wanted to do this, and I think it's the right move. I'm gonna quick add another box just there. And we're going to make that the fountain district. Okay. Now, let's hit these notable buildings. So, in the guild district, we're going to have, obviously, the Malster, actually, I guess, because we said they were Order of Monks, so it's really, it's their, like, it's their temple. I would call it, we'll just call it brewery. Which is probably a little bit like an abbey, but, in my mind's eye, that's how it looks. Okay. Then we've got the Honorable Society of Leather Workers. So we'll say the Leather Workers, tannery, right? And then we've got the Honorable Association of Tinkers. Now, the Tinkers are really interesting because the Tinkers are the ones that control the trash golems. The trash golems are the ones that keep the city clean. So this is going to be the Tinkers' workshop and garage, right? Okay. Major landmarks. In the guild district, I don't think we had any major landmarks. If we wanted to add some, I think the major landmarks would probably be, oh, I love the idea of golem barracks, which is really just like where the golems are housed, right? But that's going to be near this, and that would be a major landmark, I think, in this area. In addition, more than likely, the Order of the Malsters Brewery. Their brewery, I don't know. Well, that's a good landmark. We'll try to do one for each just for today's time. Lodging. I'm going to say this would all be residential lodging for members and their families only, which adds a really interesting restriction around the different residential sections and who gets favoritism, which I think is important. Story hooks and notes. Let's see. Did I add any story notes? Yes. Unknown to almost everyone, the Masons are quickly losing money and may go out of business. Their leader is seeking an answer and has his eye. Oh, yes. Okay. Perfect. This would be our story hook, right? I think I'd like to make that smaller so I can see it all. Yeah. I think if I go to, maybe not. Perfect. Well, it's kind of tiny, but it's okay. Now let's go to the trade district. Now there's going to be a lot more story hooks here. There's going to be a lot more things because we have a few notable buildings. 3, in fact. The, actually, lodging is one of them. So, the Groggy Grig is a, didn't we say it was a bed and breakfast? Yeah, bed and breakfast. No, I'm just going to put B&B. Okay. So we know it's a bed and breakfast. That's the lodging in this area. And then we'll put some for business owners. I'm going to put work, live. It's like work, live spaces, I imagine. A lot less residential than everywhere else. So we've got 2 there, but we have a couple other notable buildings, including the Hermit's Chalice and Keys, Bugbears, and Bronze Feathers, which is the other shop. Looking at our map, I don't see any major landmarks for the trade district, but I think we could say, just to note, it touches the quarry and harbor, right? Because I think it's important that it's a harbor port, right? In a variety of ways. Story hooks and notes. Now we had a few, mostly around the Hermit's Chalice, if I believe, and unfortunately he was the one I think I deleted. Key doesn't get along with Hermit, so he might be willing to help anyone trying to steal. Oh, right. Okay, I remember now. So this is important. So we had kind of some internal struggle. Everybody's wanting this chalice for some reason. We don't exactly know why, but it seems that it's of great import. Okay, so I'm going to add that the Hermit right? His name, I don't think we got his name because I messed all his stuff up. But the hermit, okay, prize chalice keeps it under what did we say? He probably kept it under 24-hour watch, just so that we can make that clear. So there's this kind of internal struggle. Everybody wants this chalice, which makes it kind of fun because they can go from one district to another and kind of bounce around. Notable landmarks here is going to be the Holy Fountain, built, if I remember correctly, the Holy Fountain was built upon the original a spring well found here. It is... actually, I have all of this typed out. Yes. Perfect. Boop. Let me very quickly alter this down. I wonder if oh, nice. Okay, I can auto it. That's what I ought to do. Check this. Nope, incorrect. I'm so sorry. Let me grab all these text boxes. I just had a... Did it not do it? Oh, I bet I have to do it page by page. I should be able to do auto for all of them. So now it will auto correct the font size. So I don't have to. Boom. Closing. Boom. Okay. Yeah, remember the little merchants we came up with? They were so cute. Okay, so I want to close that. That's the major landmark there. Story hooks and notes. Don't know. I think we said there is an annual tax on water for all residents. We'll say visitors must pay a one-time tax upon entry. Right? We kind of said we would do that, so... and we'll add some tax stuff because you can see there can be multiple districts, which I think is really nice, which means you can have a very expansive city, right? Because you can have a temple district, or you can have all kinds of different districts. If we were to do another quote-unquote district, what I'd actually do would be the temple lighthouse, which is really where the clerics are, and we could go through and actually add some notable buildings there, which would be like the lighthouse, which would be obviously the main one. And we could say Holy Fountain nearby, right? And just kind of fill that in. Now, this is a really cool box, I think, for GMs, the Adventuring Notes, because it's actually about your players adventuring in this city. So you can make really specific notes about things that they may have done or problems they could have caused. Now, I don't know how much we're going to be able to actually get into this because we don't actually have the full book to lay this out. But we do have max GP of goods and vendors, taxes, cost to enter the city. So I think what we need to do is based... yeah, right? Isn't that cool? I think we need to actually look at maybe filling some of this in. Because we talked about it, but we didn't really nail anything down, I guess you could say. Man, I did a really bad job with these boxes. I'm going to have to fix them. I'm so sorry, everybody. Very clearly, I did this on my laptop where everything was very tiny. Okay. Feeling better already. I'm feeling better already. Right. Okay. So, I imagine the cost of living here is pretty low. Right. I don't imagine it costs a lot to live in this city. Because it is a religious city. Cost to enter the city. Now, we need to talk about what the taxes are. What the tax is to enter the city. I'm going to put annually. What is the cost to enter the city? So we said it was taxed. Maybe it's taxed. I imagine it's taxed on the amount of days you're going to be here. Because the well has these healing properties that they maintain. So I'm thinking maybe it's like a 3% tax, or like it's a gold a day that you plan to stay. I love that. Boom. I don't know if that makes any sense, but hopefully it does. Now this box I may have to alter differently. Hang on. Just because I wanna do 2 lines with it. Let's see. I don't want it to auto, but I do want it to do that. Okay. I'm gonna do it for this one too. You're like Dot with her formatting. Must be nuts. This crazy woman. Okay. So now I'll have to see. It's going to start in the middle, but we'll sort it out. I'll get it lined up here in a second. So in terms of crime, I imagine that there's not a lot of crime, but we did have a few extra things. Let's see what we said for taxes. Taxes are handled by the Order of the Platinum Torch through tithes. So I actually think what I'm going to do is I'll put here water tithes. I think I'm just going to put tithe/annual water tax. Now, for crime, we didn't talk a lot about crime in the city. Imports. We're going to have to import. I imagine we're going to have to import a lot of food. Like vegetables, because we're not growing it ourselves. We haven't actually talked about a farm or anything like that. Exporting, we kind of talked about some of our exports earlier. I'm trying to think on crime. A tithe. Yes. I love that. And maybe that's how they know when tithes are due, is when the tide is high. I love that. That's really cool. So thinking about this, what kind of crime would go on in the city? Now, we did have a few hirelings, which we haven't put in. Right, so we got our local shops, we got our guilds, we have some hirelings. I feel like I don't exactly know where to put those. Maybe in story hooks? Let's see. I think I'm just going to put... Yes, the rising tithes lift all peasants. I think what I'll do then is do this. And add another line here. And this is just going to say... working hireling. Okay, I'll just leave it at that because I think that's the easiest thing I can do. We have the leatherworking one. We have the acolyte. So I think we're going to have to do a lighthouse district because this is going to be where the order... Ah, why are you like this? Did I not do... Oh, I know, but I know why. Aha, multi-line, close. Great, okay. Closing. Oh no, it's struggling. Okay. Let's try that again. So, second page... Lighthouse is going to be 1, but we're also going to have the order. We're going to, headquarters is not the right thing, but that is all words I can find. Oh, that's an interesting thought, Crit, which I love that. That the crime here is mostly people trying to smuggle the water out. Oh. Yes. Absolutely. That's the perfect kind of crime for the city. Perfect. Um, yeah, and it probably like keeps everybody on the same page because it's the one thing that they have. Oh, I love that. Notable NPCs. We have a few notable NPCs. We're gonna have to get to that list in a second. Because I think that's where we're. You know what? That's probably where we should put the hirelings. Right. That's a notable NPC. We didn't give them a name, but we have a few. I feel like we need to put the Order of the Platinum Torch headquarters, and where would they live? Their lodging is gonna be what? The cleric bunks. I don't know what else to call them. What is housing? Religious housing. Huh. Okay. Okay. Knowing all of this. Nope. Please go away. Okay. This is looking pretty good, everybody. So let's talk a little bit about. I want to talk about the population, I think, next. I think that's most important. I think what I'm going to do is look up. Vestibules. Ooh, I like that. Cleric vestibules. Yes, thank you for the words. So settlement by population. There are very specific settlement sizes, okay? 20 to 80 people is known as a thorp. 81 to 400 is known as a hamlet. 400 and 900 is a village. You don't get to a town until you hit about 900 to about 2100 people. I will show you this. This comes off the Forgotten Realms site. I tend to use this when I describe my population sizes when I'm doing this kind of planning. I find this to be a very helpful chart. So, excuse me, that was very tasty. I'm actually thinking this is probably closer to the village size in terms of town. That this is like a 400 to 900 person place. Oops. I was thinking, why don't we put a 600 person? Because that seems. This would be considered a village. And I'm going to take us back over. Oh, it did auto adjust. Great. Mood / current affairs. Mood outsiders. I like this. Mood of the government. So I've been thinking. Well, okay, you know what? You know what we can do? We can fill it. Let's go ahead and fill in our notable seat. Yeah, isn't that a cool breakdown? It's like, what is the current affairs going on? What is the current feeling of outsiders? And what is the current feeling of the government? Which I think are all really important aspects of the way a city functions. And makes you think a lot about where the players are going to be at when they come into the story. And that's always really, really important. So let me first get our notable NPCs, because we have 3 hirelings and a few other things that I think we need to add to this. So some notable NPCs. Let's go with our local shops first. So the Groggy Grig. Nope. Nope. Okay, so we know that Key is, Key, owner of the, owner of Keys. I'm gonna have to, it's gonna be a lot to type. Bug. Right? Bug hairs. Bug bears and bronze feather. Then we've got a couple more NPCs, right? We've got the Hermit's Chalice. We're gonna just say the Hermit. I love the idea that maybe he doesn't have a name or he just calls himself the Hermit, since that's kind of the joke. Owner of the Hermit's Chalice. Welcome in, Odysseus. Okay, closing that. Moving on. Let's see. The Groggy Grig. We don't have anybody that owns the Groggy Grig, so right now we're going to say that's not necessarily a notable NPC. The Malsters, no. We didn't have any one specific cleric that was of import. Now let's get into our hirelings, which is what we looked into last week. Hireling number 1. So we've got a leather working hireling. We've got a... Oh, interesting. So we actually built out the hermit. I'm going to say he's actually a hireling. Because he is. Remember, we rolled for him to be a hireling, which was the master shopkeep. Right? Yeah, which of the hermit's chalice. Hireling. I'm going to put master shopkeep. So we know. Leatherworking hireling. What was he? Great. I think we did a craftsman hireling. I just didn't make that note. That's okay. Okay, and then our last hireling is an acolyte. So, this would be hireling, and this is going to be, hang on, hireling cleric. He's working for the Order of the Platinum Torch. There we go. Okay. So we've got some notable NPCs. I wonder if I can alter. I bet I can't. Not at the moment. Okay, that's fine. Maybe we should talk festivals and celebrations. I think that's very very important too. So moods and current affairs. You know, a struggling city is always interesting, but isn't it always more interesting to come into a city where you're like, oh no, everything's perfect? Because your player goes, no city's perfect. So I love this idea that, I like this idea that, maybe there was a recent, smuggling operation, where gallons of holy water were stolen. I don't know if that's a mood, but that is definitely a current affair. People are upset, and the clerics have issued a bounty. Now that sets a mood. Okay. Outsiders' mood on this place. Outsiders believe this town to be outsiders believe the village is greedy since they do not share their magical water. Recently, stronger powers in the area seek to overthrow. I'll just say seek to take over. The government. Now, the government here is going to be the clerics, right? And we haven't actually talked about maybe some issues the clerics might be facing. Obviously, the missing water is one thing. But I'm not sure. I want to think on that. Obviously they're going to be upset, which is pretty obvious, right? But if we really think about the population and the mood that the government is in, it seems very unstable, in honesty. People are right? People are beginning to question So people are beginning, because of this recent smuggling affair, people are beginning to question if the clerics are actually powerful enough to maintain the city. The clerics are seeking new ways to build faith in the local population. There we go. Sorry, that's a very small line. I'll have to see if I can't make that a little bit bigger. Okay, that seems connected, we'll say. Not too big. There we go. Nope. There we go. Yeah, especially the religious state. And I imagine at some point the clerics are going to be they're going to struggle. You know what I mean? I also like this idea of a festival and celebration. If we look at this town, let's look at the things that, festivals and celebrations usually function around seasons or historical events or the things that keep, right? So if it's a farming population, they're going to have celebrations all about the changing of the seasons. This is a city that is really based around this well. And I'm wondering if there's a celebration that is all about the founding of the well. It's like an ancient, localized celebration or festival. I like the idea of it being a festival that celebrates the founding of the well. Annual celebration. We'll say annual festival. The original founding of the Holy Well. Now, if you were running this in a campaign, I would say this is a great city because we haven't really assigned a deity or anything like that. Both a water patron or, in this case, a patron of light or fire or, I love the lighthouse as kind of nautical. If you were playing this in Midgard, I'd say, you could go with, like, Sigoten if you're playing in, like, a Dragonborn area, but, Nethys, right, off the Middle Sea coast could be very interesting. There's a lot of really cool things this could be. So I love this annual festival celebrating the original founding of the Holy Well. And what does that look like in terms of a celebration? Does everybody celebrate via water? Do they all dress in blue? What does it look like? Which begs the question, what is the original story of the founding of the well? Was it by accident? Was it a given as a miracle or a gift to a cleric who started the order here? I love the idea that maybe the original founder of the town was the person who decided that this cliffside needed a lighthouse. Right? Yeah, there's so many ways to, like, involve this. And what that looks like, I don't know if I have to lay out right here, right now. But I do love this idea of an annual festival that is a celebration of this holy well. And maybe the original cleric was the first bearer of light here on this coastline, the first lighthouse or keeper of the lighthouse. Which is a really cool idea. Just to help me visually, because y'all, I'm not very. My eyes are not very good. And that's okay. Perfect. So we talked about some of their exports being stone. We talked about their exports being blessed leather. I imagine I like this idea that they chose not to export the water. That is innately theirs, like as part of them. It's for their people. Stone, blessed leather. Oh, I love that. Yeah, the golems have to get all dressed up. Stone, blessed leather. What else would they export? Maybe if it's here on the coastline, they might have fish. Or oysters. Because it's a rocky coastline. That could be very interesting. Clams. That's very cool. I like that. Okay, so what would they import? They're gonna have to import some agricultural things. If the plains are not farmable, then they're gonna have to get fresh. We'll say fresh vegetables, right? So fresh vegetables are going to have to come in from somewhere else, at least on mass scale to feed the people. If they're eating a lot of fish and, oh yes, I love that. Beer and malt, right? Yes, we talked about that. I like that. They're going to have to bring in fresh vegetables. Maybe they hunt something along the coast. So I imagine that meat and game is okay. I was trying to think of other things they would need, other rare things they might need. We'll just put stone and metal, because I imagine that they also mine metal, which is how they make pretty much anything that they need. Maybe even the mechanisms that keep the lighthouse spinning, right? Or something like that. The brewers were technically maltsters. They're a silent order of monks that do a term of service in silence to the brewery, and they make malt. Though I imagine they brew the occasional mead and other thing, maybe wine. It did say it was dry, so our climate that we rolled for is a dry climate. So, I would say it is dry enough to potentially have some wood. But again, does that come from, where's that coming from? Because we're on a coastal, rocky kind of inlet, and then there's these plains behind us, but the plains are in this perpetual elemental storm that most people can't withstand for extended periods of time. So, yeah. I mean, y'all, this is a great start. I was trying to think of maybe one more import that they might need. Other things they might import that as a coastal region they would not be able to get with this perpetual storm that might come by boat. I'm going to say things like sugar and syrup, right? Anything that they're going to need to make, which is the maltsters may need. Fresh vegetables, I'm going to say in fruit. Because again, if they're making a mead of some kind. Actually, you know what? Let's say honey. Honey, and let's just say honey is the one that's imported. They import honey. Fresh vegetables. Let me do this. Grain and fruit. Because again, they're not farmers. If they've got leather workers on site and the leather's being blessed by the clerics, they have to be able to get that locally. Yeah, I would agree. We would probably have to import wood. I'm going to put wood/fuel because that, actually, no, I'm not, because fuel would probably come in the form of coal, which they may be able to get out of the quarry or one of the mines nearby. So you know what? I'm actually going to say it's not stone and metal. It's stone and coal. That's a way better, way better. I like that way better. So they can turn to coal as a source of fuel, but wood would be, if they're building, basically they would probably not burn a whole lot of wood. They would use it to build things, boats, harbors, docks, barrels, and they would use coal probably as a localized fuel, which is not eco-friendly, but here we are. Max gold of goods and vendors. This is we said this, the cost of living here is low, which means these probably aren't terribly wealthy people. The clerics are probably going to have the most money, the order is, because they're getting all of the tithes and all of the taxes. The guilds are going to be right under that, I imagine, in that they are the source of goods that come through here that give the people the money to pay their tithes. And then you've kind of got small trade locations like these shops and these bed and breakfasts. So the max good of a vendor is not going to be very high. I imagine they're not going to have more than about 100 gold pieces on them, right? At any one given time, like, if they're lucky. Okay, look at us. Look, we filled out this whole character sheet. I love this. And I'm going to, I wonder if I can export this. Export as PNG. Oh, I can add a landmark. Hang on, let me do that. I'm trying to think, what do I want this? I think I'm just going to put, We'll just say this is the entry gate here. The temple lighthouse, the district, the trade district, the quarry, the plane of perpetual storms. I say, yeah, now I'll export. Yeah, okay, let me export this now. Let me export this as a PNG. Then we're actually going to import that map into this character sheet because I thought, why not? Browsing. Downloads. Today. This one. Let's see if it works. It should work. Okay. There it is. Beautiful. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so many good things here. Okay. Let me save this. We don't really have a symbol, but I wonder if I can't find one. I like the idea of a... What is that called? It's like a lighthouse crest. I'll just find one that I like, right? I love this, and I like it for a variety of reasons. I'm gonna, wonder if I can, nope. I really liked that one. Now, again, I just kind of went online and, like, found something, right? You'll obviously want to... Well, the one that I found here, I guess I'll show you. I genuinely just did a Google search, so it's not anything special. But I really loved this one right here. Hang on. No, I really liked this one right here because it had the lighthouse, but the sparkly water. It all just made me think of, like, the well and stuff. But it won't let me take that image because it's probably not my image to take. But this one's really nice. So I'm just going to quick save it. Let me make sure I can. Yes, perfect. Okay. And then I'm going to import it into the PDF just so we have one. Now the question is, I think I'm going to have to add a place to put it. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Okay. Closing that. Now if I click here, I should be able to load up the image. Oh, why didn't it save? This is the last thing I wanted to do, and it was the easiest thing to be done. Oh, I know why. It didn't save in the right place. Let's try that again. Okay. Download me. Try again. Okay. Now we're cooking with grease. Okay. Boom. There it is. Symbol of the lighthouse. We didn't have any nearby settlements, and I think that's okay, right? No lodging. Holy site, I think, needs to be listed. Okay. Now I will save it. Saving. Very well. We did very well, everybody. Look at us go. So basically, what you can expect from this is that I'm going to give this character sheet over to some of our publishers. They're actually going to put this out. Oh, that's great. Great question. That is actually a website that I use. I will copy it and link it in chat. It's called Watchabout. itch.io medieval fantasy city generator. You can generate them. Actually, you know what? Let me just pull this back up now that we're talking about this, because I think this is a really great resource. I use it all the time. Okay, so Now that I've actually saved this, I can do whatever I want to with it. So you can actually alter this by like re-rolling the geometry or the geography of it. You can add landmarks directly. See, so I could be like, oh, well, this is actually a blank blank, right? I can change the color scheme. Right, so I could be like, no, I want brightness. They've got presets, so I can go like a natural color. I can apply more natural tones to it if I wanted a blue. Oops, that's not what I wanted. I can come through here. I can change the settlement, right? So I can re-roll district names. I can re-roll points of interest. I can that's not what I wanted. Which is pretty swell. No, I keep getting ahead of myself. So this is a really great one, and you can do things like this Okay, so this population says 860. You know what? I think we should stick with that. If it's generating at that many people, I'm gonna save that many people. Let me do that. 860 people would live in this village, which still keeps it as a village. It has 142 buildings. I love that it populates that for you, which means that it's probably using some kind of generator to... I can warp it, right? So, see, I can even say, no, I really want this harbor, like, more open so that you can see something from somewhere. Yeah, it is a really, really, really super cool tool. I don't want that anymore. I can also change the style altogether. So I can do things like add weathered roofs to them, hatching in certain places if that is what you prefer. I can go the thin line route. I can tint certain districts so that districts come out in different colors, which is really, really nice. Let's see. I can do small font sizes. I can do legend-based ones. So if you prefer a legend, it'll populate a legend for you over here on the left. I can do things like I want really complex buildings, right? So if I want a bunch of alleyways in a really complex layout, I'm telling you guys, I make so many of my maps on this generator. It's wonderful. I can do things like I really want it in blocks, so they're like back to back. I can do lots of buildings. I can do simple buildings. I can do, I don't know, so many. I can shrink them. I can change them. I can I bisect them, right? So if I want more bisectional and straight lines, you can like totally change the entire layout of the city, which I think is dope. I'm not going to do hatching. I do like the weathered roof idea. That's very cool. And I actually kind of like the key as well. So anyways, there's a lot of stuff that you can do. You can come in here and play with it. This is, of course, just one map, right? So I can go, generate a whole new random map. Or I can say, no, don't do a random. I want it to have a temple, a plaza, shantytowns, no farms, a coastal, no walls, and an inner castle. And then I can do the same thing by coming to roads and say default number roads. That's fine. And then I can tell it how big I want it. So I want a medium-sized build that fits all of these requests. Maybe I don't want it on the coast. Take it off the coast. I want a large city. See what a large city looks like. Maybe I don't have an inner castle. Maybe I just have a citadel. Yeah, it's just a really cool. It's a really, really cool. Maybe I'll do a river instead of a coastline. Right. So now I've built this river on a coastline, or this city on a river. Yeah. Maximum number of roads, so lots of entry into the city, little entry into the city, so forth and so on. Okay. All right, I've shown off one of my favorite tools, my super secret favorite tools as a GM. So there you go. We did a lot today as we broke this down. We looked into it. We talked about like how to take the practical information from all the rolling that we have done, from some of the information, not all of it. And you can see like there were a lot of things we weren't able to fill in. Every section on this sheet is a section in the Campaign Builder Cities and Towns books. That means that we've only looked at 4 sections of what is clearly a whole lot more. So ideally, when you're all done and you have the book at your disposal, you'll be able to have a character sheet like this for every city that you built, which is easy to roll up because of the tool that you'll be using, which is Campaign Builder Cities and Towns. I'm going to close some things. I'm going to save that. Be on the lookout on the Kobold Press blog, as we're going to be posting this and talking a little bit about our process together, having made this happen. There are a few days left. I believe there are 8 days left, 1 week to the day, for you to get your hands on Campaign Builder Cities and Towns and to back the Kickstarter. The more stretch goals that we reach, the more that we obviously will be able to do. And more importantly, you're going to get more stuff. And next up, we've got the unlocking of a bunch of really, really cool, like, city-driven monsters, which I think is really neat. So, that's all we have for you today. If you want to check out some of the writers of this book and what they have had to contribute, and want to kind of go back and look at how we got the information we had today that was going into the sheet, you can head on over to our YouTube, where you can check out the VODs from the past Kobold chats, where we've interviewed, like I said, a variety of the writers for this project, along with other projects of our past and our history. 8 days left, and we'll be moving on to some more and exciting things. Remember that you can catch us here on Tuesday nights as we play through Empire of the Ghouls. We are very, very close to coming to the end of this campaign, and I'm very, very excited. For those of you that have backed in chat, thank you so much. Thank you so much for believing in us. Thank you so much for backing this project, and for, wanting a book that not everybody would say at first glance that they want. And we're really excited that we get to show you some of what we can actually do with this book this time around, and give you a sneak peek of what some of the pages are going to look like. Cool. We're going to close out today. We will see you back here next week for another Kobold Chats, where we chat all things Kobold Press, the same Kobold time, the same Kobold channel. Y'all have a great afternoon. Bye, everybody.